My name is Erica Mann Jong. Unlike many New Yorkers, I was born in New York City, astonishingly enough, and I'm a writer. My idea of perfect happiness is to be in bed with the man I love and about 20 books on the counterpane. And we're lying in bed and reading, and we're listening to marvelous classical music or jazz, and we're in quiet with each other. And maybe we'll make love later, and maybe we won't. My greatest fear is that George W. Bush will blow up the world. I deeply admire the Greek poet who lived 2,600 years ago, Sappho of Lesbos. I deeply admire Margaret Mead, who was a great anthropologist but also a philosopher about women, and who actually said that we should have 3 forms of marriage. One, a starter marriage for people who don't have children. The second, a householder marriage for people who have children, and that should be pretty hard to get out of. And the third, an elder marriage for older people who marry for companionship. Wasn't she ahead of her time? I most dislike in myself the fact that I have a tendency to be a bit of a naif about things. I have this Candide-like gullibility. I most dislike in others their ability to lie with a straight face. I am referring, of course, to Hollywood agents, Hollywood lawyers, and George W. Bush. I'm excessive about everything. But more specifically, I'm excessive about clothes. I'm excessive about jewelry. I'm excessive about fashion. I'm excessive about food. I'm excessive about sex. And at times in my life, I have also been excessive about alcohol. I lie to protect people's feelings when I have to turn down an invitation, or when I know that telling them something would hurt them immeasurably. I like to sail. I don't like to race. I like to be on a boat in the middle of some beautiful body of water, preferably the Mediterranean, and to have someone, maybe my husband, or even better, some young, cute captain, sail us to some marvelous place in the Greek islands or on the coast of Turkey, where we can later in the afternoon inspect some marvelous ruin. I'm challenged most by getting to my desk all alone at 5 in the morning and starting to work. There are so many distractions in my life that practicing my profession, which is writing, can get absolutely blasted by the fact that I live in New York, that I have many friends, that I am a passionate mother and a passionate grandmother and a passionate wife. I'm actually too gregarious to be a writer, but nonetheless, I have managed. The most satisfaction comes from the 600 words I managed to produce in a given day, or the 1,000 words I managed to produce. Great satisfaction comes from my adorable daughter, whom I love more than life itself, from my adorable grandson, who is 9 months old, and from my husband, who's my soulmate. One of the worst depths of despair, certainly for me, is depression. I am more afraid of depression than just about anything else. And I mean the kind of depression where you look down at your shoes in the morning and you can't decide whether or not it's worthwhile to put them on. I think I was happiest 2 moments in my life. One when I gave birth to Molly, my daughter, and next when I met Ken. After that, I would say the birth of Max, my grandson. My most treasured possession, I guess, is my house in Connecticut. because it's there that I can find the solitude to write. That house is serenity for me, and it's writing for me, and it's thinking my own thoughts, and so it's been very important to me. I would be really, really happy if I could have a voice like my friend Judy Collins. My most obvious characteristic is exuberance. My idea of success is writing one poem that is still read 1,000 years after your death. If I have a greatest achievement, it will be that I put the thoughts of women on paper, and in a fearless way, in a way that maybe hadn't been done before, and that I gave women a voice. If I could change the world, I would get rid of organized religion, number one. I would tax the churches in the United States because they create so much political trouble. I would get rid of the Vatican and the sweet little old Pope who is really not good for women. And I think that by those steps, we might someday down the road achieve world peace. The fork in the road for my life was becoming a defrocked academic. I was in the PhD program at Columbia, and I elected not to go back and finish my PhD, but rather to write a book called Fear of Flying. That was a very good move. For years I felt guilty that I had not finished my PhD. But actually, all the people I was in PhD school with can't find jobs now, so it had turned out to be a good move. On my list of things to do that I haven't done yet is to tour India. And I'm planning to do it in 2006 with my husband Ken and two dear friends that we travel with all over the world. My present state of mind is absolute joy in being alive and having health and doing work I love and having a family I love, and I know it's all very fragile, and I just hope it lasts. My favorite motto, which my husband Ken introduced me to, is Dum vivimos vivamus. While we're alive, let's live.